Welcome to another message from the streets. Today's topic, as usual, controversial but thought invoking. I got several things I'm gonna speak on today. I ain't want to miss out on this. So I bought my little other phone, and I'm gonna go right on into it. And one of the things that I have come to the conclusion by talking to other people from other nationalities or ethnic groups, they don't see America through the lenses of the eyes of the so-called black man and black woman and the black children. You know, they have a perspective that is that's almost like an illusion in a sense. They trust the government. They trust everything. And I'm not saying that this is the worst place, but for so-called blacks, we have experienced things, and when I say we, I'm talking about people that are melanated, that are the descendants of the slaves and the slaves themselves. So that's in our DNA. You know, that's one thing people don't realize. They say, "Oh, you wasn't no slave," and my people, I don't see no slave masters. And I got that today from this guy. He was talking to this young dude that was an advocate of finding or holding European Caucasians accountable for the crimes they have committed against so-called blacks. So, in saying that, blacks, so-called blacks, do not have any confidence in the European nation or the Caucasians or the government. Why? Because we know, the ones that are aware, that this same government is the same government that invaded Africa. Just like they invaded these other countries, they invaded Africa, brought the people over here as cargo, identified us as beasts as burdens, and then as time went on, said that we was 3/5 of a human being. Ain't nobody do that, but the agreement that was amongst the minds of European Caucasian so-called white Americans. Some people may think that I'm hostile or I oppose so-called whites, but that is false for the truth. I come to tell the so-called white Caucasian Europeans of America and in American descent the truth. Why? Because I care about them. And I care about them because I see that they have been deceived in their minds by their forefathers. And when you have a belief system that's in your mind and your heart that is of an illusion that has been passed on you from a traditional state, it's difficult to break it. So some of the things I may say is harsh, but it's truth. And you know what? When you get truth, that's how you are able to get over the falsehood and start dealing with the reality. So I'm saying this to say in this particular segment of the video is that so-called blacks here that especially been on the lower levels of societies don't have any confidence of the Europeans. One thing that our people got to realize is that our thinking has been compromised. So-called blacks are the closest to the European, Caucasian, white Americans than anybody on the planet. That's why we know them so well. We know them better than they know themselves. And why did I say that? Because when you are the center of a situation, you can't see what other people see. And so-called whites don't see what blacks see, or so-called blacks see. And from the data and the information, from the lynching, from the segregation, from the hostility against our young people, our children, when they was trying to integrate into schools, these crimes that have been committed by white nationalist organizations that are cells within the Republican Party right now in the day, we are not deceived about who you are, where you at, and how you get down like you get down when you get down. And I say that to say to keep it up front. Some people will go by act like do ain't nothing going down, but we know racism is prevalent. We know that there are systematic operations going on where the money that we may apply for loans and housing and different types of things to have a better life here, that there's a curveball thrown at a lot of so-called blacks. If your money right, you're all right. But at one time, it wasn't even about your money, because you were moving to a neighborhood, they'd bomb your house, They terrorize your children. And this is this is on the timeline of the European nations. And I'm saying this is an attempt to make y'all feel bad. No, I'm saying this so y'all can wake up to the reality of what we see and what's in our memory. The pain and the hurt and the disenfranchisement and the reason that we don't trust you. Some people even despise you. But I don't recommend that. But I can't tell people what to do. My lessons in my life have brought me to the point that I can't despise you. Because if I'm despising you, I'm despising myself. We are one. We different hue, but we come from the same energy and that same source. Some people will beg to differ with that. But if there's only one creator, where did these other beings come from if they didn't come from the one creator? That's another topic. But moving forward, I got this phone, man. This is going to keep on short timing me on the screen. Okay. The system of colonization must be addressed. That's that so-called indoctrination centers that we send our children to. And what this is doing is mass producing more minds that are reflections of the colonizers. Your description of history, your description of what science is, and your description of these different forms of mathematics, so forth and so on. These systems, just like white supremacy, is a system. You have created them and you have downloaded them on our minds. And I recall when I was in school, I never was the top of the class. I wasn't the lowest part of the class, but I only did just enough just to get by. And the reason I did that because I didn't have an appetite for the information. I didn't have an appetite for the way that the teachers were teaching. And I didn't realize this until years later. And I know that many young people are being forced a program, an operating system on the hard drives of their minds that is not designed for their minds. It's just like Apple trying to put stuff on the Android system. They're not compatible, but you force it in there and you get it to work a little bit. It got glitches, so forth and so on. And that's what's going on with a lot of the behavior scenarios that's being produced by so-called blacks. Where did we get this behavior from? Where did we get this murdering and this stealing and this disdain for our own people? Is a reflection of how European Caucasians have demonstrated to us and have treated us. So we started reflecting them and we treat our own people that way. Because that was one of the gripes that the brother had. He said that he seen that, when I'm talking about the brother that was in the conversation with the younger brother that was promoting to hold the Europeans accountable and responsible for how did they terrorize our people. But there was a brother that had been indoctrinated by the European mindset, said that was a defendant of the government. He was defending the government, the way of life in America, so forth and so on, and was saying that everything that was going on in the black community, so-called black community, was a result of so-called blacks. He said that he spoke on the situation about gentrification. He said now that a lot of these areas are being gentrified, the same type of behavior and activity is not going on. But the whole thing is, with gentrification came money. See, so-called blacks were put in a state of poverty and suppressed in those states of poverty. Couldn't get certain types of jobs, certain types of things wasn't available. So when you got poverty, you're going to bring about crime. And the European Caucasian so-called white American scientists that study society, social scientists, they know this. Poverty promotes crime. Most people out here stealing and that leads to murder and other types of heinous activities is in need of something, or they're in the desire of something to help them to sustain. What if a person had $100,000? They're not gonna rob the bank. But if a person got $1, a piece of moldy bread, a piece of moldy cheese, you know what he say, man? What I got to lose? And these are the type of things that so-called whites don't look at. It is the situations and the circumstances that so-called blacks have come through. Yeah, we at a different stage. But this is a part of our development as everybody having moved out of those states of mind. See what I'm saying? And why? For the lack of knowledge, my people perish. You know, people are in a colonized state of mind, and when you're in that state of mind, you're a prisoner. And that's it, and that's all. And it's difficult to break away from those mental prisons. I'm about to sum this segment up. I'm over my time, and I'm going to end it with this. But this whole segment was initially supposed to be about, so I'm going to take about 2 or 3 more minutes, the Great Reset. What is the Great Reset? The Great Reset is that, from what I have concluded from the information that I have listened to and researched, is that it's a restarting of society. America has got to the point where, as though that they say, you know what, it ain't no saving this Titanic. This is a sinking ship. We about to jump off this joke. But to jump off this joke, we going to look at this joke like a chess game. We're going to have to reset. We're going to have to reset the, the deficit. We're going to have to reset everything. And that's what's going on. That's why you're going out here, the inflation is done destroyed the dollar. The dollar ain't worth nothing. A piece of toilet paper, hard toilet paper at that. You see what I'm saying? The dollar is no more good, no value. Nobody in these foreign countries or these other countries want to invest in the United States dollar no more, because there's an agreement that's going on with the big heads on the planet. Rothschilds, Rockefeller, DuPonts, Bilderbergs, Gates, so forth and so on, to dismantle this society, this culture here. But you got to realize something. With all the societies in the past dissolved, Rome, Egypt, Persia, Greece, another society came. Another leader came to the forefront. And when America dissolved, which is going to eventually, I don't know when, I'm not saying the day, tomorrow, next year, so forth and so on, but if things keep going in the direction that they're going, there's no other destination. But the big question to you, Americans and the Americans, they're always crying about socialism and communism. Who is going to be the world leader once America go down? Will it be a communist country? Will it be a socialist country? There's one way out of this situation that I had come to the conclusion of today, and that is that this society needs an upgrade. And it needs an upgrade in so many ways. This is pretty evident, but a lot of people can't wrap their minds and their hearts around this. Upgrade number 1, love, which leads to upgrade number 2, that people should have proper food, clothing, shelter. You think this capitalist society is the best thing since sliced bread, but it is proven that it has faults. So it needs an upgrade. And with upgrade means changes, fixing the bugs in the operating system, making it better than it was before. Y'all don't want to make it better. Why? Because you're stuck. You're traditionalists. Oh, my father, this and this and this and this and this and this. You need to read the constitutions and the amendments and the articles. And then you may realize that what's going on in this country right now today, from the top, Mr. Biden and his mandates is in violation of the Constitution and other activities that have taken place on this planet, on the watch of presidents, have been in opposition of Constitution and the amendments and the articles. All that. They've been doing it right in front of our faces, and because we're not abreast in it, the lawyers and the social scientists, they're aware of it, but because we the people not abreast with these doctrines, these documents, they just do it every day right in front of our faces, right there on the Supreme Court, in the Capitol, and at the White House. The 3 major parts of the government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch, all have betrayed the people. And I'm going to leave y'all with that, man. But once again, just remember, the so-called black man here in America, a lot of people with these different nationalities think the black man crazy, so-called black man is crazy, but you got another thing coming. The black man know what you don't know. That's why so-called black people was not dismayed when the World Trade Center had got bombed or blown up. It was not a great mystery when they came to us and say, hey, yeah, the government did it. You know, Bin Laden and them ain't doing woo, 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 woo. That wasn't no mystery to us, because we don't put anything past the government. Other people say, man, so you're trying to say the government did this? You're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. I think you should go and check some of the conspiracies that have been transpired over the last 10 years, 15 years, and see the revelations of those conspiracies. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to go. I'm way over time. I bring you this message in love. I leave you this message in peace. And remember, man, an upgrade ain't gonna hurt nobody, man, you know? See what I'm saying? We need an upgrade. Upgrade, make some adjustments. Make this place better than it was, because if we don't make it better, there's only one other option, and that is the dissolving, destruction, the end. Peace, love, grace, and goodwill to all humanity.